Saturday vlog, although actually it's kind of turning into a bit of a podcast because I think each episode I've done has become longer and longer. Although last time I had a real problem uploading to YouTube because it was quite long. So this time I'm going to try and keep it a wee bit shorter. Welcome, nice to see you here. I feel like a lot of stuff has happened since the last episode back in March. There's been the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, of course, which was brilliant. I had a really good time. I was teaching 3 classes. So on the Wednesday I did choose colour was in the afternoon. So the first one in the morning was they used that stitch dictionary, which was fantastic. Everybody really got the idea of taking a stitch pattern from a stitch dictionary and playing about with it. It was really good fun, and it was really interesting to see what everybody did with the stitch patterns. And then in the evening was the choose colour class, which was a lot of fun. There was quite a lot of colour theory, and we played about with little sort of yarn bobbins. Actually, I could show you them. So everybody made little bobbins with kind of a rainbow of colours. We played about with them. And then people knitted some swatches playing with different colours together and different textures. So that was great fun. I had some lovely feedback about that one. And then the other class that I taught was on the Sunday afternoon, which was the Shawls class, which was quite a lot of information, I think, for people at that point in the festival. But everybody did a super job. And sort of in between the 2 lots of classes, I was at the marketplace, which was just fantastic. There were so many things to see, and a lot of people. Every time I go, I feel like I know more people, and so there's more people kind of bump into, or people approach you, and you get chatting. So it was lovely to meet new people, but also catch up with other people. And I went to the Knit Night on the Thursday as part of the Knit Now team, because I don't know if you've seen this, they released, it was their 100th issue. Actually it was that week of the 20 something, whatever the Thursday was, 22nd of March was their 100th issue. So they had a table at the Knit Night. So there was Kate Heppel, the editor, and some of the tech editors that work for the magazine, and some of the designers there. So it was really nice to meet them all. I've met Kate a couple of times before, but it was nice to meet the other people. And so as part of the Knit Now 100th issue, they did this special supplement, which was a lot of designers' first designs. So I don't know, I'm pointing at the wrong side now. Here's me. And I actually just can't believe that I'm on there with all these amazing designers that I've admired for a long time. Slightly surreal. So my shawl that's in here is my sycamore shawl, which was the first design that I had published ever. I hadn't even self-published anything. So it's that one, which is done in its double knit, and Kate's written a really lovely little bit in there about me. But there's some really great patterns in here. It's a lovely supplement, and it's on, it's printed on really nice paper. Be a nice thing to keep. So I was at the Thursday Knit Night as part of the Knit Now team, and then on the Saturday I went to a meet up with Mimi from Yarn Chicks podcast and the Yarn Chicks zine, which she had organised at the Regent Bar, just kind of up the hill from Ginger Twist. So that was lovely, and it was actually really nice to be able to have a long chat with people. Quite often when you're at a yarn festival, if it's somebody who owns a stand, it's a very little sort of snippet of conversation because they're super busy. Or if you're if you're standing in the marketplace, it's more of a kind of hello, how are you? So it was really nice to spend a bit more time actually having in-depth conversations with people at these sort of extra meetups and events. So that was happening that week. But the other thing that was happening that week was that I had a design in the first issue of Making Stories magazine, which is here. So Making Stories had previously published, I think maybe 4 or 5 books. So they had the Woods one, and they had Jewels, that was I think last year, towards the end of the year, and Stripes, and must be forgetting some other ones, but so now they've started making a magazine which is going to be twice a year. So this was the first issue, and it's a really lovely publication. You know, the paper's lovely, and it's really it's just beautifully done. So the theme of the issue was to do with change, and I designed a shawl. I'll show you in here. I've lost the place now. Here. So this is Columella. Actually, do you know what? I'm not really sure how to the best way to pronounce it. If it's Columella or Columella. If you know, you could let me know, because what I do know is it's part of a shell. So if I show you this, this is a mollusk spiral shell. So the columella is this central column here in the shell where it spirals around. A bit like, you know, in a spiral staircase where there would be a pillar, and the steps would come out from the pillar. Do you know what I mean? So that is the columella. And I didn't realise this, but spiral shells, they, like the vast majority of them, all spiral from the right, so going around that way. The very rare ones will spiral from the left, which is called, I think they're called sinistral shells. And so that kind of idea of a change of direction was the thing that inspired the shawl, and that stitches can move, you know, travelling stitches, moving direction, and it being the change of direction taking place on a kind of familiar background. So the background of it is a garter stitch rib. So you have this little bit of kind of fiddly bit for the travelling stitch, which isn't really fiddly at all. And then the rest of the row is just knit. And then on the wrong side you have a bit more to do. So it's a bit of a combination between a change in what you're knitting and in a kind of soothing garter stitch familiar thing. So I'll show you the one in the magazine was knitted in Cambrian wools, 4-ply, which is absolutely gorgeous to knit with. It's just a very neutral colour, although it's actually a slightly very sort of pale grey, extremely pale grey. It's not white and it's not cream, it's a kind of cool white, I would say, that is like a really, really pale grey. It's very hard to describe, but it's lovely. I would definitely work with that again. There's another shot. So that issue's out just now. You can get it from their website, and you can get it in yarn stores as well. And so I've been knitting myself one. I think I was knitting this on the last episode. So I've used Kettle Yarn Company's Ramble yarn because it was something that I had in my collection. And I had 3 skeins of it because I thought it was used 2.5, which it did. And actually, I didn't check my gauge when I started doing this. I just started knitting it with the needle size that I had done my swatches in, and just went for it because I knew that I had enough. I didn't need to check. So it's actually not as cool as this, as it's looking there on the camera. It's more green. It's looking more blue there. So there's the centre there. See there, where it changes direction. And I might put a photograph in actually of it, because I took some. My husband helped me take some photos yesterday in the garden. But it is huge. I mean, it's just amazing. It's massive. It's like a blanket. I was knitting it, and it was like, I had it down, like I could spread my legs out and it would go all the way down past my toes. So it was very cosy to knit. I'm gonna not style this right, but you know, it is really big. It's gorgeous. It's gonna be, I think it'll be a really nice piece to take, you know, if you're going travelling anywhere and you're never quite sure what temperatures are going to be like in different places. I think it would be quite a handy piece to have for going away with. So I keep doing that the wrong side, and I just wanted to show you one. It's got jumpers, it's a pair of socks, there's another shawl called Rainfall, which is actually on the front there, and there's a cardigan. Where is there a cardigan? No, I think they're all jumpers. I wanted to show you this one, in verse, by Lauren Wallace, who was at I'd met her earlier in the weekend at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and then she came to my shawls class, which was really lovely. So this is like a brioche, you know, the brioche tuck stitch, I think it is. So it's reversible. So see here, you've got like the dark side is more prominent, and then you can wear it this way with the light colour prominent. It's really clever, and that's actually Lauren's first published pattern, which just kind of blew my mind a bit. But it was lovely to meet her, and also I got to meet the tech editor Marina and the editor Hannah Lisa at Anew. So that was lovely too, because it's nice to meet people that you've been emailing with back and forth. So, and then of course the other thing everything happened at once last month, was the Shawl Saturday Series launched. So thank you so much to everybody who bought a membership of the Shawl Saturday Series. I was completely blown away. Like, I'm not exaggerating there. So I wanted to show you the first. You'll probably have seen photos, but this is the first design. This is the spring one. So this is called Make Anew, and it's striped, and it's also got this garter stitch section. So it's really asymmetrical, and it's really long. So it's got this middle section which you do first here. So it's not many stitches. And actually, it's a really good way to see if your colours are working together. You can just get started, and you know, if you don't like them, you can rip it back, and it's not a huge amount of knitting. That's section 1, and then you pick up section 2 is the garter stitch, which has got little, can you see that, slip stitches through it. So that goes along, and then that finishes in a point. And then you go to the other side of section 1 and you pick up and you repeat the lace and garter stitch stripes, and you keep going, and then you finish with the garter stitch, and you get a nice scalloped edge there, and you get a nice scalloped edge in the middle section too. It's kind of, I've been wearing mine a lot, so it started to, it's not quite as scalloped as it was when I unpinned it. And you can wear it, you can wrap it around quite a few times. It's really long, and I've been really enjoying wearing it. I really like I should also say there's a picked up edge along the two long edges. Just pick up, knit a row and then cast off. But it really ties the different sections together because of that. And that, well, the thing I was going to say that I'm enjoying wearing it is the two asymmetric ends, which is really nice. I really like that. So, and there's quite a lot of them being knitted up in different colourways. Some people have gone very spring, some people have gone very jewel tone. It's really nice to see the different colour combinations that people have come up with. So I'm currently just finalising the summer pattern, which will be coming out at the beginning of June. But keep your eyes out in the Ravelry group or on Instagram. I'm going to do a kind of real-time virtual knit night thing like we did for the Patience Cowl knit along in December. So it will be like chatting on Ravelry in the chat thread and on Instagram underneath a post that I'll post at the time. It's quite a nice way to connect with people, and I'm also planning to organise a Shawl Saturday meetup on Saturday afternoon in Edinburgh. If you live nearby, I'll post details about that on Instagram, and I'll probably do a kind of newsletter thing as well. Okay, I'm going to keep this on. It's quite cold today here in Edinburgh. It's been really sunny, but it's also been very cold. It's okay if you're in the sun and out of the wind. And actually, I've had a bit of sunburn on my face the last kind of two days. It's been really sunny. Today it's a bit overcast and it's cool. So I'm just going to keep this on. So I'm just going to add this little bit in because I forgot to show you my hat that I knitted. Wait, now, hang on, I'll talk about the pom-pom in a minute. So I knitted this with the leftovers from my Anew shawl, and this hat pattern is called Slice of Honey, and this is one of mine from a couple of years ago, and it's an Aran weight pattern. So the Anew shawl is done in 4-ply, so I held it double, and I just did a medium. So it's got a little slice of honeycomb cable pattern, and the rest of it is in reverse stocking stitch. So you probably need about maybe 200 meters of maybe a wee bit more. What I'll need to do, I think, is weigh this and see how much, but it doesn't take a whole skein of Aran yarn to do the hat, so I think you can do it in half a skein of 4-ply held double. And I used the contrast colour and then the main colour here. And this massive pom-pom came from Toft. It's an alpaca pom-pom. So they're ethically made. I did check with them. They're made from alpacas who pass away naturally on the farms, and they use the skins with the fur on them, and obviously this one has died because you don't get lime green alpacas running about. And it's on a press stud, which is quite good, because you could either, if you were, for a 4-ply hat, I think you could probably just put the bottom of the press stud through the top of the hat and snap it together. But with this Aran weight one, I couldn't get it to snap through the fabric, so I just sewed the bottom of the snap on there, but I can always undo that because I've left the tail on the inside. I'm not going to try it on just now because I've got my hair up, but I'll put a photo in here, and took some photos of this outside in the garden yesterday. But yeah, there's a massive pom-pom, but it's really cozy. So the featured shawl for this month's episode is my Snow Blossom shawl, which originally was in Knit Now magazine in kind of January, February time. I think probably 2 years ago, 2017. And it was the second It was the second design I think I did for them, and the theme for the issue was a kind of alpine theme. So I wanted to do a kind like a Edelweiss type of flower, a little lace motif for that. So I'll show you. This is the original one from the magazine. So this is made with Yarn Stories 4-ply yarn, which is really, it's merino, and it's actually quite, it's probably more on a sport weight kind of a size, and thickness, you know, it's very springy. That's not really a word, but you know what I mean. It's very springy. That's maybe a better word. So yeah, so the little lace pattern has got bubbles. Can you see that? And then it's got this striped bit on the top, the garter stitch. So it was inspired by this idea of Edelweiss, and the name comes from the song Edelweiss from The Sound of Music, when the words are blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow. So I kind of took that and made it into Snow Blossom. So it's a good one for this kind of time of year, because I don't know about you, but here last Wednesday, it was trying to snow. I mean, it's April, and yeah, all day it was like sleeting, like showers, and then hailstones, and then bright sunshine. It was real April showers, but it was definitely still trying to snow. So this one is just a nice little shawl for this time of year, when it's still a bit chilly, and you still might want to have something around your neck. It's not too big. So I'll show you this is the submission that I did for Knit Now. And I knitted, so there's a photograph there of the swatch that I did. And I actually made a mini shawl for this one. And there is, and I also did, I'll show you, I'm just going to grab it, there's a sketch that I did. It's not a fantastic piece of artwork, but I just wanted to show how it was going to be worn. So that was included in the design submission. And so here's this is the swatch I can find. I think there must have been another swatch before this one, but I can't find that one. So I don't think this came from a stitch station. I think I made this up. Now, if I hold it there, you might be able to see it against the cream. So I started off, I knew I wanted to use bubbles, because you know Edelweiss, they're quite sort of little nubbly kind of textured flowers, because they're alpine flowers. You know, they're very low down. So there's a bubble in the middle, and then I think I've tried to do here a line of bubbles. It's kind of hard to see because of the grey. And then at the bottom I can see I've gone for a bubble in the middle of a sort of lace motif, and then a bubble just sort of by itself, and then a bubble in a lace motif, and a bubble by itself, and a bubble edging. So from that I then went on to make a little mini shawl. I thought it would be nice to use, so it uses two 50-gram balls in two colours, so, and sort of like gradually moving into the second colour, so starting with the first colour and then moving into the second one for the border. And this one, so the first lace is like half of the bottom lace motif, can you see that? And then there's the lace motif that you saw in the swatch before, where the bubbles are kind of like in between as well as in the motif. And then there's a bubble cast off along the edge. So that's a mini shawl, which I quite often do. I think I talked about that last episode. I quite often knit a mini version just to check things will work. So that was that mini one, and then the one for the actual magazine was the Yarn Stories full ply, which in the finished version, the cast off is in the first colour, in the green. So I might just put that one on. Uh-oh, got caught in my earring. Oh, there we go. Okay, put this one on. I'm using a different camera today, so I'm a bit confused because this one, everything on the right is on the left and so on, and I have a real problem with my left and right anyway, so this is really confusing me. And so then this was the one that was in the magazine, and then when I got the rights back and I self-published, I knitted another sample using Coop Knits Socks Yet, which is really, I think you get more than 200 meters per 50 gram skein. It's really good value, and it's got a lovely drape to it. So I made this version a little bit bigger. So there's an explanation in the pattern for how to do the two sizes. So this is the kind of standard size, and this one is a wee bigger. So there you go. And it's the kind of pattern actually you could do it with just using leftovers, or you could, if you've got two half skeins, do sort of lots of 50 grams, or if you've got a variegated, you could use a variegated where I've got this green, and then use solid for the other colour, so that the lace will show up, but the variegated in the garter stitch would look really good. You could probably also do it in mini skeins, but I'm not 100% sure how that would work out for the lace. It would be a bit of an experiment. So that's Snow Blossom. It's just quite a nice little crescent shaped shawl for this time of year. And so that one's going to be on the, as usual, the kind of discount code. I'll probably set it up for the next week, so over the weekend, and then I'll finish it up for next Friday. So it's going to be Snow Blossom, so that's Snow with a capital S, B with a capital, and then _15, so Snow Blossom _15. It will give you 15% off Snow Blossom, and you can find that in my Ravelry store, and I'll put all the links down there somewhere. So that's just about me. I just very quickly wanted to say that the Awa sweater, which you might have seen at EYF if you were there, Helen of the Wool Kitchen, whose yarn this is, she had her this sample, her stand for people to try on. So I just took some photos yesterday of it, and I'm just getting final proofread, final check with my test knitters, and I'm hoping to release this early next week. So if you, whenever I release a new pattern, I always offer it to newsletter subscribers at a wee discount. So if you are interested in knitting double knit, oversized, cropped sweater with this lovely string of pearls stitch, if you would like to knit it, sign up to my newsletter and you'll get a little discount when it comes out next week. And we're also going to be having a knit along for this, along with the Tipsy Knits podcast, which I think will probably start sometime in May. So when the pattern comes out, there'll be a little bit of time to get yourself organised with yarn and everything, and then we'll start the knit along. But if you've already started, that'll be fine too. It's going to be quite a laid back kind of knit along. So I'm looking forward to that. It was really well received at Edinburgh, and actually Rachel Coopy, of Coop Knits, I was just saying, she posted in Instagram stories that she had chased one of my test knitters, who was Jo, along one of the aisles in the marketplace because she'd seen the jumper and she really wanted to know what it was. So Jo had told her, and anyway, she posted it in Instagram stories. So I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Rachel Coopy wants to know one of my designs. That's a little bit surreal. So lots of surreal things been happening in the last month. Yeah, so I'm going to finish off now, but if you would like to knit Snow Blossom or just get yourself the pattern, it's 15% off until next Friday. So use the code snowblossom_15. Thank you for watching and have a lovely weekend.
He has asked for the check of the world.